because the game did eventually become very, very grindy, very exploration-based. What you selling today, cuz? I would love some garlic. Thank you so much for garlic. Garlic is delicious. I have a bottle here of garlic parmesan dipping sauce and a freshly baked loaf of bread that I'm going to be eating as soon as I'm done with this Let's Play. And I think you guys will agree that I deserve it. I absolutely deserve a delicious treat after sharing this game with you. Because I know there are going to be people that think I'm sharing this game ironically. I'm not. I really do love this game, and it's kind of been on my docket to play for a long time, and I don't know why I'm just now getting around to it. Oh, equip the eye to see veiled clues. So I guess if I wanted to see if I've missed any clues in the game, what I could do is equip the eye and just go through the whole game and see if there's any clues that I didn't know existed. Because I literally haven't broken every single brick in the game looking for clues. Like I said, I know where to find the clues that kind of point the critical path, and that's about it. Hey, now we know something that we can do with garlic. It summons strangers, but unlike our other items, our garlic down here is limited. So we're going to be cautious. We're not going to throw garlic around until we have a good idea of where we want to throw it. And I don't want to be in a cemetery. That seems very spooky. Somewhere in this town is a guy looking for a white crystal, and I just happen to have a white crystal. And oh, there we go. Our next mansion, the Rover Mansion, where we know Dracula's heart is, has 2 clues to find. Alright, we're going to find both of those clues. See, I haven't actually tried to break every block in this game. I haven't been that thorough with it. But that's what you did back in the day. If you're ever in a, like, watching somebody play, like, the old Legend of Zelda games or something, like, how are you supposed to ever solve Legend of Zelda? Are you actually expected to go to every screen with bombs and try to blow up all the mountains? Yeah, you are. That's what we did back in the day. So I think a lot of these old games that have reputations for being unsolvable and inscrutable, I think that's just like entitled millennial whining. They just want their hands held through the whole game. Come on, kids. Oh, okay. A blue crystal's required, huh? Well, I mean, we already know what to do with it. We gotta go to Yuba Lake and kneel with a blue crystal. Hey, good thing I bought 4 of those laurels, because now we know how to get through poison marshes. But that's just something I happen to know. I happen to know we need 2 garlics and 4 laurels. This, as far as I know, is the only clue in Simon's redaction that is not true. This is a lie. If we go back to Veros and look at all the houses, we will not find any clues there. Hey, he trades it straight across. White crystal for blue crystal. Beautiful. Now I got a blue crystal. It's delicious. So there is at least one clue. It's either a lie or the person who did the ROM hack got the names of the towns mixed up, and there's a hidden clue in another town somewhere. I haven't actually gone through all the towns searching for hidden clues, because I don't know what that hidden clue could possibly be that's useful, because I already know where all the clues are that point you along the critical path of the game. So, either the person who made redaction made a mistake. I do not want to lose all my health here and die. But I'm not doing a very good job of not losing my health. You can level up in this game. Whenever you kill enough monsters and collect enough hearts, you level up, which, first of all, makes your health meter a little bit longer, and second of all, it fills it all the way up. So, hopefully that will happen pretty soon. Maybe down here in Rover Mansion, which is where we're going next. So I really, really do not want to lose my last life. I haven't lost any yet, but I don't want to lose my last life until after I'm done shopping. Once I'm done shopping and I don't need hearts for shopping anymore, I kind of don't care. But also by that point in the game, most of the dangerous stuff will be behind us. So it kind of doesn't matter. We'll see. I mean, we'll just see how it goes. And there are some cheap deaths. Like if you just walk forward here, you'll walk into the river and die. But it's actually not a river. This is Lake Yuba. So let's hold a blue crystal and kneel. Hey! Secret under the lake. So that's the kind of thing that I don't think a reasonable player would figure out without the clue. Let's go into Rover Mansion, guys. I'm already awesome in Rover Mansion because I bought that chain whip. And I'm not going to explore the entire mansion. I'm just going to... The goal in every mansion is you have to find the oak stake and break the crystal and get a piece of Dracula. So that's the goal in every mansion. But... like, I think people would figure this wall out. There's not a clue that tells you that what wall is a fake, but... like, I think people will try to make that jump. Or they'll throw holy water and see that it's fake. I mean, you can tell immediately that it is actually fake. But in addition to buying the stake and getting the clues, we are going to... or, I'm sorry, in addition to buying the stake and breaking the crystal, I am going to find all the clues in each mansion. There's my stake. See, now sometimes you check a dead end and there's nothing there. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. And look how that skeleton's walking. What does that tell you? That tells you that there's holes in the floor up there. Can I please? Thank you. Can I... oh, okay. Conservation of motion? What is? Uh-oh. Hole in the floor right there. There we go. Show the evil heart to the ferryman. Ferryman? Not ferry like restores Link's health. Ferryman like he ferries you across. You get it. You know what a ferryman is. And we know that the heart is in this mansion. So, once we complete this mansion, we know what to do next, right? Right? Like, nobody's confused. Like, leave a comment down there if you're confused, and maybe somebody else can help you out. Pretty easy in most screens to avoid damage, especially when you have just monsters like these Skelemans that just kind of wander. They're really not that big of a deal. There's a couple of places in the game where you take really cheap damage, in my opinion. We'll cross those bridges when we come to them. Most of them are going to be... actually, no. Most of them are going to be before we've done all our shopping, so... I guess there will be an element of luck in this playthrough. But as you can see, this entire mansion is underneath a lake. And we have a clue, yes. Garlic summers a soul in Camilla's cemetery. We gotta go back to Camilla's cemetery. I thought this cemetery was just gonna be spooky and empty. And I don't have to check any more walls because they told me there's only gonna be 2 clues in this mansion. Man, this game is really, really helpful with the clues, you guys. I don't know what anybody was talking about. But yes, I could have used the garlic in Camilla's cemetery to, while I was there. But the rule was that I don't do anything out of the ordinary until I find the relevant clue. So we are going to do a little bit of a backtracking now as we go back to Camilla's cemetery. It'll be good backtracking, though, because it'll be... oh, this guy, though. Okay. Wait for him to back all the way off. See what I mean with the cheap hits? Whenever you've got those spearmen guys right there next to a stairway, I don't know a good way to not die. Hey, there's my level up. Oh, could not have come at a better time. Kids, when you're playing old, vintage Nintendo games with unfair hits and stingy controls, there's an old adage you should keep in mind. If you're gonna cut it close. That's right. And don't jump off ledges if you can't see what's below you. I may or may not have already had to junk one recording of this game because I made a stupid jump like this one and landed in the water. I knew it was safe to land there, though, because this has like a background mesh, and I knew that the right-hand side of that background mesh over there coincides with the floor. Let's see if I can screw this jump up. Nope, we're fine. There is actually one interaction in this game that I think... it's never clued as far as I know. Nobody tells you about it, but I think a player could intuit after, like, with a little bit of trial and error. If you've played the game before, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I'm very interested. It's not going to be in this video. It's going to be a minute still. before we get that far. But I'm very interested to see. I'll point it out. If you're not familiar with Simon's Quest, if this Let's Play is your first exposure to the game, I'm very curious to see if this interaction is something that you think a reasonable player could deduce through trial and error. It's the kind of thing that I don't have a really good sense for because I already know the game pretty well. But it might be unfair. Or maybe you'll say it's unfair just because you're an entitled millennial. I don't know! The world is filled with entitled millennials. And what's funny about that is because technically I myself am a millennial. I was born... So, every generation has a name, I guess, going all the way back for hundreds of years. But here's the problem. Some people don't fit with any generation. Like, when you think of millennials, you think of, like, young kids, right? I can go through here at night because I don't need to do any shopping. Like, yeah, you think of kids or I say kids, like maybe entering their 20s, like graduating college age now, or younger, teenagers, or like even young kids, is what you think of when you think of millennial. Let's equip my garlic. Look at this guy! He loves garlic. He gives me a silver knife. Now, we skipped the first knife. This is actually the second knife, and travels full screen and will go through monsters, but it consumes a heart. I was talking about millennials. So yeah, that's what you think of when you think millennials. When you think like Gen X, like Generation X, you think of like people who grew up during like the 1980s. You think of like punk rock hair, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off kind of generation. The problem is, every time you like have a generation like this, there's people who are in between that don't really belong to either generation, and that's who I am. I was born in 1982, and if you look at like generation gaps and things, if you look at the charts, 1982 is kind of too late to be Generation X. I'm too young to have grown up in the 80s, but like too early to be a millennial. Like I was already, like I grew up without the internet. We didn't have the internet when I was a kid, you know. So like the internet wasn't an influence in my life, and that's when I think of millennials. First of all, I don't actually have anything against millennials. I'm just making a joke. I do not buy into the whole ridiculous criticisms that millennials have to endure. In fact, I would like to apologize on behalf of everybody who's technically in Generation X, I guess, but is actually too young for that. Like, I think it's terrible how the slings and arrows that millennials have to endure, because I think every generation in American history, I mean every culture, but I'm an American, I have American culture, that's my history, but we all have different problems. Nobody's got it easy. Every generation has different things they have to worry about. I just jumped in the marsh. What I'm doing here is kind of just throwing some time away, because I can't... Oh, Morning Sun has vanquished the horrible night. We're ready to go. Everybody who says millennials have it too easy, everybody who's old and looks at the millennial generation and says they have it easy, they're freeloaders, they're lazy, whatever they want to say, the reason they say that is because they're ignorant of the trials and tribulations that the millennial generation actually faces. I'm going to hop in this church and get my 2 pips of life back. Like, the millennials, this is the first generation of people who were raised on the internet, who don't know a time before the internet. I think this is where I need to go, because I said this was a hundo. A dagger. So this is the first dagger you can get, and like the holy water, this is free, but it's super short range. I think it's slightly longer range than Simon's whip, but we're only buying it for completion's sake. But yeah, I think that's a very interesting challenge. There are people growing up today, because we as a culture haven't really decided what to do about the internet yet. Like, everybody who's going to be running the world 20, 30 years from now, all of the politicians, all of the people making decisions, people who own companies, people who are employers and employees, the people shaping the world are all eventually going to be millennials. And all of these people are going to have, this is going to be the first generation ever that they're going to have their entire life history available in the public eye for everybody to see. It's already happening. We already have stories of people who are embarrassed by stuff that they've put on MySpace or Facebook that people have preserved, and now this embarrassing thing is just about them on the internet forever and ever and ever. No baby boomer has ever had to deal with that, at least not growing up. They might now, like my dad's a baby boomer and he posts embarrassing stuff on Facebook all the time, but he didn't grow up with that. The dumb stuff that he got up into when he was 15, 20, 25 years old, like, it's been erased, essentially. It's not part of the world anymore. We're doing a lot of backtracking now because we have to go to the other part of the game. We're going this way now. But my point was that I'm a little too old to be in that group of people, I think. Like I said, I think a distinguishing feature of being a millennial is growing up on the internet. I didn't have an internet-capable computer in my house until I was 16. Hey, a poison marsh. Perhaps we should use a laurel. And the laurel's gonna run out eventually. So we'll use the second one just to make sure we don't take any damage. That's fine. I probably could have got through. Hey, a ferryman. Let's equip the heart and see what the ferryman has to say. Yeah, let's go, buddy. But I also don't feel like I belong in Generation X. I feel like I'm a little too young for that. I didn't grow up in the 80s. I'm not an 80s kid. I was born in 1982. I'm a 90s kid. I consider myself a 90s kid. Hi there, next mansion. This is the Braum Mansion. That's our next stop. But first, this interaction here. Okay, so we're going to jump to this platform. When you're on this platform and it's moving down, he does a little hop. When it's moving up, he does a big hop. Nobody in the game tells you about this, and if you don't know that trick, you will not pass these moving platforms. As far as I know, this screen is not possible without knowing this trick or extreme luck. But I do also think it's the kind of trick a player could intuit, because again, you get infinite lives, and you always respawn right where you died. So if you die on this screen 500 times, it doesn't matter. Oh, I do not like being on this screen, though. At nights. Hopefully we'll be careful here. Here, let's do this. Sacred Flame. Because the Sacred Flame can trap monsters in their place. It can kind of freeze them there. And this man has a diamond for us. And I'm going to show you what the diamond does. That's it. It bounces off walls. It's not a very good weapon. The problem with the Sacred Flames is not as powerful as my Chain Whip. But I will probably never use the diamond. I don't know of a place where it's super useful to use. You're not going to fire till I jump up there, are you? Fortunately, I still have Dracula's Rib, which is a great shield. We should be able to get through this map. I mean, these birds are just gonna hit us. I don't know of a way to dodge these birds real easy. Like I said, the game does have some cheap hits in it. But I think that this interaction here, I think a player could reasonably intuit this just by trial and error. You can fail. The game lets you fail here as long as it takes for you to get across. And I think after a subset of those failures, players will begin to, like, they'll figure out, sometimes I jump really high and sometimes I don't. Like, sometimes I clear the gap with room to spare and sometimes I just don't, and I don't really understand why, but I think they'll put two and two together. You're going to have to tell me whether or not you think that's true. You're going to have to let me know about that. Like I said, it's not something I've got a really great sense for. Oh, I don't want to waste my hearts on that. The Sacred Flame does use up hearts. See, this guy here, right? I got good luck that time, but you don't always get good luck on that guy. But this is the Braum Mansion. This is the third mansion in the game. And I am curious to hear what you guys have to say regarding big interaction on those bridge platforms. Oh, that spearman had my number, boy. I don't need to be up here. There's nothing up there.
Shoutouts to A Cardboard Box for sponsoring this video, and to everybody who helps make my channel possible by supporting me on Patreon.